Why your personal bank account is an easy target for a creditor or the IRS. One lawsuit or IRS levy can wipe out what's sitting in your personal bank account. Fast. Hi, I'm attorney Jim Daloisio, Director of Legal Services at Torchlight Tax. Let's talk about why your personal bank account is such an easy target and how structure changes the game. When money is in your personal account, it is usually the simplest asset for a creditor or the IRS to reach. It's liquid, traceable, and sitting at a place that responds quickly to legal orders. Creditors don't start by chasing your house or your business equipment. They go for the easiest win. That's often your bank account. If someone gets a judgment against you personally, they can use tools like bank levies and garnishments, depending on your state. The bank isn't there to argue for you. If the paperwork is valid, the bank freezes funds and turns them over according to the order. Now let's consider the IRS. The IRS has levy power that is faster and more direct than private creditors. They don't need a court judgment like a typical creditor does. If you have assessed tax debt and you're not in a protected status, like an approved payment arrangement, currently not collectible, or another resolution, your personal bank account is one of the first places they can hit. Here's the next big issue: commingling. If you run business money through your personal account, income, rent deposits, customer payments, you create two problems. First, you create a clean trail that makes your cash easier to find and quantify. Second, you weaken your legal defenses because you blur the line between personal and business finances. That blurring can support alter ego arguments and veil-piercing claims. In plain English, it becomes easier for someone to argue that your business is not really separate from you. And once they win that argument, they stop chasing the business and start taking from you personally. So what does a deeper asset protection structure look like? One common strategy is a holding company that owns the entities underneath it. A lot of people choose Wyoming for the holding company. Why Wyoming? Wyoming is often used for a holding LLC because Wyoming fees are low, laws are friendly, and the owner's name is not needed by the Wyoming Secretary of State for setting up the LLC. Now, here's the structure concept. You form a Wyoming holding LLC, and that holding LLC owns operating LLCs that run the active businesses and rentals, a separate LLC for each operating business or rental property. The point is not just hiding assets. The point is separation of risk and separation of targets. The operating businesses and rental properties are where lawsuits are most likely. Customers, employees, tenants, vendors, and contracts create lots of friction. If an operating business or rental gets sued, the fight stays inside that LLC. If you own everything personally, the lawsuit quickly becomes about you personally. If the operating company owns the rentals, then a lawsuit against the business can threaten the rentals. If all rentals are in one LLC, one property lawsuit can threaten every property. But when you separate, the operating LLC is the risk box for the business. Each rental LLC is its own risk box for that property or group of properties. The Wyoming Holding LLC sits above them as the owner, so ownership is centralized and cleaner and not publicly connected to you. If you're doing this correctly, your personal account is not collecting business revenue, not receiving tenant rent, and not paying business expenses. Those funds flow through business accounts owned by the correct entities. Also, Wyoming LLCs have other protections under Wyoming law. That matters because creditors look for speed and certainty. They want assets they can grab today. A properly structured setup slows them down and forces them into the business structure first. In many cases, they don't get a direct line to take the cash the way they do with a personal account. They may have to pursue remedies against an ownership interest, and that usually means more steps, more rules, and more limitations. But here's what most people miss. Structure without discipline is worthless. A Wyoming holding LLC owning an operating LLC looks great on paper, but it fails in real life if you do these things. Use one bank account for everything. Move money randomly without documentation. Pay personal bills from business accounts. Don't have an operating agreement that matches what you actually do. Don't keep real books, real records, and real separation. Because if you run it like one big pile of money, a court can treat it like one big pile of money. So if you want this to work, the deep rules are simple. Separate entities for separate risks. Separate bank accounts for separate entities. Written agreements and clean bookkeeping that prove why money moved. The rentals should not be paying operating business expenses. The operating business should not be using rental cash as a piggy bank. And one more key point, the IRS is not the same as a private creditor. A good structure can help with lawsuits and creditor exposure, but it does not make tax debt disappear. It does provide an extra layer of defense. the IRS can still enforce against the taxpayer, and banks still respond to valid levy or garnishment paperwork. The goal with IRS enforcement is to stay protected through proper resolution steps and to keep clean records so you don't create new problems while you're trying to solve the old ones. So the takeaway is this: your personal bank account is a target because it's the most direct, most liquid, most simple asset to seize. If your personal bank account is also acting like your business account and your rental account, then it's not just a target. It's the center of your vulnerability. Structure is how you change the target. Discipline is how you keep that structure from collapsing when it matters. One rental property lawsuit should not threaten your operating business cash flow, and vice versa. If you wait until after a lawsuit or IRS enforcement starts, last-minute transfers can create bigger problems. Contact Torchlight Tax for a free consultation at 877-758-7797 or info@torchlighttax.com. If you found this video helpful, please like it, share it, or subscribe to our YouTube channel.